All right, thank you. Next, I'll read the HUD statement. Whitehall Township has an obligation to affirmatively further fair housing and review all land use applications in accordance with federal civil rights statutes. This includes taking meaningful actions that overcome patterns of segregation and foster inclusive communities free from barriers that restrict access to opportunity based on protected characteristics. The township, in its land use decisions, does not discriminate against persons based on race, color, national origin, religion, sex, disability, or familial status, and reviews all land use applications in accordance with federal civil rights statutes. Public comments made on the basis of bias and stereotype concerning people within these protected classes will not be taken into consideration by the township in its deliberations. All right, before we have courtesy of the floor, I want to clean up a few things. An executive session for legal and employee issues was held with Attorney Gross and various administration and staff on the 4th of August, 2021 at 6:30 p.m. at the Copley Whitehall Sewer Authority meeting room. 7 commissioners attended. Next thing I wish to address, I guess this came through today. Pastor Donald Hain is retiring from the Civil Service Board after 21 years of service to the township. I'm going to read a note that Jack Myers put in his email, and I asked Jack for his permission to read this. I believe that describes Reverend Hain's service to this township in as best as can be written. Reverend Donald Hain deserves our gratitude and thanks for a long history of service. His leadership helped calm the waters of disagreement between labor and management and brought trust and honesty back into the civil service process. Over his 21 years of service to this township, we wish Reverend Hain well and best of health into the future, and many thanks for his service to this township. And personally, I would add, job well done. One last piece of that type of information. Public Works employee Steve Yu retired 6 August 2021. He was a skilled tradesman for the township for 31 years. We wish him well and good health into the future, and thanks for his years of dedicated service to Whitehall Township. And that's a good long time, 31 years of service. We wish to thank him. Moving on, approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it, Warren.
Comments from the board? Comments from the public?
There are no comments from the public.
Mr. Secretary, please poll the board.
Commissioner D,
Aye.
Commissioner Warren,
Aye.
Commissioner Attia,
Yes.
Commissioner Fisher,
Aye.
Commissioner Sloniker, aye. Commissioner Marks,
Yes.
President Ginder.
Yes.
Motion passes 7 ayes, 0 nays.
Under courtesy of the floor, is there anybody from the public that wishes to speak? Anybody from the public who wishes to speak?
No, there's no one wishing to speak.
There being none.
Bill.
We're on the public hearing and voting on ordinances. Bill number 24, 2021. This is the second hearing. An ordinance amending the personnel policies and procedures of the Township of Whitehall as contained in Chapter 1, Part 8, Article 36 of the codified ordinances, specifically as it pertains to the township's harassment policy. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion, D.
Do I have a second?
I'll second Marks.
Comments from the board? Comments from the public?
There are no comments from the public.
There being none, Mr. Secretary, please poll the board.
Commissioner D,
Aye.
Commissioner Marks,
Yes.
Commissioner Warren,
Aye.
Commissioner Attia,
Yes.
Commissioner Sloniker, aye. Commissioner Fisher,
Aye.
and President Ginder.
Yes.
Bill passes 7 ayes, 0 nays.
Bill number 25, 2021. An ordinance amending the Whitehall Township Codified Ordinances, Chapter 29, fees by amending Section M16, Planning, Zoning, and Development, subsection 16.11, use permit. Do I have a motion? Do I have a motion?
I'll move Fisher.
Who was that?
Well, first was Fisher, then was Sloniker.
Discussion from the board. Any discussion from the board? Discussion, comment from the public?
There are no comments from the public.
There being none, Mr. Secretary, please poll the board.
Commissioner Fisher,
Aye.
Commissioner Sloniker, aye. Commissioner Marks,
Yes.
Commissioner Warren,
Aye.
Commissioner Attia,
Yes.
Commissioner D,
Aye.
and President Ginder.
Yes.
Bill passes 7 ayes, 0 nays.
Bill number 26, 2021. An ordinance authorizing the acceptance of a proposal for the purchase of a 2022 Ford F-250 4x4 pickup truck for the Public Works Bureau of the Township of Whitehall in accordance with Section 3.20 of the Home Rule Charter, which requires authorization of acquisitions in excess of $25,000 by ordinance. Do I have a motion?
I'll move Fisher.
Do I have a second?
I'll second
Second
Marks.
D.
Who was the second?
I don't know.
You can have it, Nick.
Doesn't matter. D.
All right,
Okay,
Mr. D is the second. Comments from the board?
President Ginder, a few quick questions, and I guess I'll direct these towards the mayor. How often do we acquire these trucks?
You're better off asking Jack that. I don't know that what the last time was that we got a pickup truck.
Okay.
Jack?
The pickup truck for the mechanics is from 1988. However, to better answer your question, every couple of years we order at least one or two because we probably have well over a dozen pickups of various usage in the township.
Okay. My second question on that, and this is kind of like an issue near and dear to my heart, and I know the technology isn't there yet, but it will be there soon. Is the township putting consideration or thoughts into like acquiring electric pickup trucks down the road once the infrastructure's in place and the technology's been tested, maybe the next like 5-year time frame? Are there any more? I know there's been some consideration of it. I'm just kind of wondering where we're at.
Well, I would suggest that if we can prove by then that we can utilize these facilities, pickup trucks particularly, without running out of a battery, and I think we're primarily made for doing something electric. I think we should move to that as soon as it's feasible, because we're just made for this. You go out there, you drive around the township, maybe you put 15, 20 miles on it, maybe less than that, and getting it connected at that point is easy. It's not like maybe a car where you're driving 400 miles per recharging. I mean, we're just working inside our municipality, and I think it makes sense.
Yeah. I
The
mean,
only main problem with this is making sure that the equipment is powerful enough and has enough torque to be able to plow streets. And that's where the big hangup's going to be. I agree, with the mayor that, our driving is relatively local in nature. It's the heavy duty work of plowing snow in the alleys and things where you really need that power and ability to have a reliable apparatus to do that.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree with both the mayor and Jack. And I'd like to believe, I'm hoping that the technology will be available in the next years, like the next, say, 3 to 5 years, that we should be able to like accomplish the plowing and accomplish these more heavy duty things. And I mean, to kind of go on the mayor's point, it is useful that we are in such a small place, like that we're not driving such excessive distances. So, I mean, as the technology matures, I will definitely keep the board appraised of like what's happening. And this is kind of something that's, as I've said, near and dear to my heart. And I do believe there's a lot of potential to it. And I would also actually, I'll run on the topic quick, not to belabor this point. But I believe the next year, are we still on track for the acquisition of an electric vehicle for code enforcement?
Jack, that's you.
And I don't know that we've had any kind of discussion yet of replacing vehicles. We'll have to see what the budget says.
Okay. Was there one for the mayor as well, or was this, where do we stand on that?
I don't know the answer to that. As Jack says, we haven't dealt with that at this point.
Okay. Well, that's all I got. So not to belabor it anymore. So thank you guys.
Any other comments from the board?
Yeah, Jack, this is Jeff. I think you answered my question, but I just want to verify that this truck is also plow ready and can be used in supplemental conditions.
Oh, absolutely. It's all hands on deck when there's a major storm.
All right, thanks.
Any other comments from the board? Any comments from the public?
There are no comments from the public.
There being none, Mr. Secretary, please poll the board.
Commissioner Fisher,
Aye.
Commissioner D,
Aye.
Commissioner Warren,
Aye.
Commissioner Attia,
Yes.
Commissioner Sloniker, aye. Commissioner Marks,
Yes.
President Ginder.
Yes.
Bill passes 7 ayes, 0 nays.
Bill number 27, 2021 has been pulled this evening by the developer. Probably we'll see it back next month. There was a timing issue with doing the paperwork. Moving on to public hearing and voting on resolution. Resolution number 3166 has been pulled by the developer. This is basically the same developer, development lot cutting, and there's an issue with some timing on paperwork, so we'll probably see this again next month. Resolution number 3167, a resolution of the Township of Whitehall, Lehigh County, requesting a grant from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania's Keystone Communities Program for the Whitehall Parkway Pavilion Project. So I have a motion.
I'll make that motion, Warren.
Second,
I'll second D.
comments from the board? Comments from the public?
There are no comments from the public.
There being none, Mr. Secretary, please poll the board.
Commissioner Warren, Commissioner D,
Aye.
Commissioner Sloniker, aye. Commissioner Fisher,
Aye.
Commissioner Attia,
Yes.
Commissioner Marks,
Yes.
President Ginder.
Yes.
Resolution passes 7 ayes, 0 nays.
Okay, under other, we all received an email today from Deputy Mayor Myers about some additions and things that have to be taken into consideration for the remodeling of the municipal building. Jack, would you wish to talk on this?
Certainly. Well, we'll start with a quick synopsis of what we did when we did the bidding. When we had the scope of the project, there were things obviously that were non-negotiable, and there were things that were options that were put in the bids, and there were things that we would have liked to do, but we were uncertain with the pricing in the market, and Dewey was also uncertain that we would be able to afford some of the other things that we would have liked to see. Fast forward to today, where we were able to accept every one of the options that we bid because we had such advantageous pricing. We come to the point where we're at that part of the project where we have the ability and we have the financial resources available to do basically three things. The first of which is to replace and remodel all of the employee bathrooms in the municipal end, which were not going to be touched other than, surface treatments. The second thing is, if you look at where the building improvements now are, the exterior improvements were to end at where the front of the building turns on the southern side, and it was just going to be a surface treatment in resolving the rest of that. And the third thing is obviously the Board of Commissioner, the public meeting room, where that was just going to get new floor covering and wall coverings. These proposals, and I put all in all of the submissions that were provided to us by the GC, the plumber, the HVAC, and the electrician. And the total cost for all of those would be $731,000. We presently have $788,000 in contractor allowances and contingency remaining. Of the electrical work, which is somewhere in the neighborhood of $306,000, the audio visual breakdown, just the electronics in that, is $137,000. The way it was explained to me is that the technology has advanced so far just since we went out for our initial bid for what the police conference room is going to be. This is head and shoulders far and above exactly what we'd be getting. So it would be a state-of-the-art audio, video, and technological advance for the township to do those extras. There were a couple of architectural renderings to show you exactly what the public meeting room area, that entryway would look like, which would wrap around all the way to the building. It incurs a lot more brick on the south wall, and also would tie in the back of the building as well. So we have that opportunity, and from how it was explained to me by Dewey, was that you're basically talking about 10% of the total area and space of the complex. And based upon the pricing, we would have probably looked to receive, you'd probably somewhere a little over $1 million to do all of the things that we're getting done by this increased scope of work. We're getting that all for about 25% less than what we would probably be paying. And let's face it, once this project's done, it's going to be hard for us to find any more money to go back and do some of these things. And from, what Dewey has said is that, these prices are just going to increase. We have very favorable labor rates and pricing. The additional supplies and building materials are not very onerous in nature, even though it probably would add about 10 to 15% ordinarily to what we were paying before. But it gives us an opportunity to address some of those areas that were, didn't make it through the cutting room floor, since we do have this money and contingency available. And both Dewey and the administration would recommend that you strongly consider doing some of these. It's going to make it a cleaner project, and it's a totally new building then. That, there's nothing old that would be in the building from the previous construction projects. So with that, I'm open to any questions.
Anybody have any questions for Jack?
Yeah, Jack, it's Joe. I just have one. The circular wall, when you walk in the foyer of the public meeting room, they show this wall extending out towards the authority to the south. And there's like a shadow of, I guess, what would be the emergency generator by those two people. What is the wall like behind that gentleman? I'm a little confused as to how far is this wall going to go out? And they built a wall already in front of the generator. Are they going to extend that wall all the way over to the building? Is that what this is about?
It's going to close off that portion of the building. It's not so much, it's not so much as it's more protective in nature than anything else.
Okay. So they're going to pin it into the building and continue it over to the building, basically.
Correct.
Okay, got you. That's all I got.
Any other comments for Jack or questions?
This is Jeff Warren. Jack, are there any unused HVAC systems on the roof that are obsolete, just there taking up space?
All of the HVAC systems have been removed now. There are some of the old things, and since we did not do a total roof replacement on the municipal building, the thing is, we didn't want and it was from the roofing manufacturer, we were able to get a 25-year guarantee on the roof if those things stayed in place, because they didn't want any kind of weak spots or any areas that would be subject to leakage or failure. So, I mean, they're not really noticeable unless you're looking overhead. I mean, they're not, most of the units are new that are up there, but there are some older ones that would remain even though they're inactive.
Okay, you provided a justification why they should remain.
It gave us the warranty on the roof work that we were doing that we wouldn't have gotten, and it probably would have run into a lot more money to address some of those problems at that time. Dewey said they're really not hurting anything up there. The general contractor agreed with that assertion, and by doing the roof repairs that we got, I think we're covered for the next several decades, probably till this debt service is all paid off.
Any other comments for Jack? Any comments from the public on this?
There are no comments from the public.
Phil, can I interrupt for a
Right
moment?
ahead.
Phil?
Yeah, go ahead.
Don Hain is now in attendance, and I wonder if you would want to run through the comments that you had earlier.
Okay, as soon as we're done with this issue, I will go back, let me find my comments. Anybody have any other comments for Jack on this, or any comments from the public on this?
There are no comments from the public.
All right, Jack, do you need any approval from the board on this?
We would just need your authorization to, since we are talking a substantial amount of money, that we would look for your vote of support on this. Just
All
so
right.
that the record's clean.
Attorney Gross, do we need to put this in motion tonight, or can this motion be drawn up next month? Is there a time limit on this? Will it hold anything back that we don't keep anything moving? How do you wish to handle this between Jack and the attorney?
Jack, I think you want to get Jack Myers. You want to get this moving promptly. Is that right?
Yeah, it's basically doing change orders to an existing contract, for contracts.
So I would suggest that you can, if you can do a motion tonight to approve that and to allow Jack to get started. He and I can confirm if anything else is necessary next month. But I suggest you proceed with a motion tonight, assuming that the board would like.
I have a question. Sloniker, I have a question. Did everybody get to see this report from Jack Myers today? I'll tell you the truth, I saw it, but did not have time to read through it. So I don't know if anybody else is in the same situation as I am.
I saw it and read it.
I saw
Okay,
it.
that's you. Did
Yeah,
all
good.
the other commissioners read it?
Yeah, I've read it. I'm good.
Yeah.
No issues here. I read it.
I read it.
I read it, and I do have one more question.
Go ahead with your question. Well, let's finish up with what
Yeah.
Commissioner Sloniker asked. All right, who did not have time to read this today? Let's go that way. We know that Tom didn't.
The secretary didn't. Appears everybody else had a chance. Like I said, I superficially looked over it, but didn't go into much. It was pretty long to go through everything. So.
Okay, now somebody had a question.
Yeah, this is Jeff. I guess I just would want to make sure that we're not paying markup on top of markup that's outside the purview of the original contract.
Absolutely not. All of the rates and all of the things that are spec'd forth are consistent with the existing contract. They don't have the ability to come back and do surcharging or any of that stuff. And they've been. Go ahead.
I was thinking particularly of the ODCs, just the materials. Because each vendor is going to be buying the items and then they're going to charge the general contractor, and the general contractor is going to charge us and that.
Well, not necessarily. The general contractor has really only the construction end. You'll have the plumbers getting their fixtures, and all of this has already been priced out, and all of the quotes that you see contained in this submission, and some of them are lengthy, are all consistent with the existing contract, with the exception of areas where the products have increased in value, paying more for lumber and things like that. But everything else is consistent with the existing contracts that all four are operating under.
Thank you, Jack.
Sure.
Any other questions about this? All right, Attorney Gross, I'm not quite sure how to go further. I have one commissioner who has not read this, 6 commissioners who have. But I guess the easiest thing to do, Commissioner Tom, do you have any objection to us voting on this?
I have none. It's just like I said, I only superficially skimmed over it, and it, just telling you up front, that's all. But it appears that everybody who has read it has not had any problems or whatnot, just the ones that were addressed here. So,
So if I go ahead and take a vote, will you be okay with it? With me taking the vote, not with what's in front of us.
yes.
Okay, and we're going to do that. Now, any comments from the public yet on this before we vote?
No comments from the public.
Thanks.
Phil, I'm
Yes.
sorry, this is Jack Gross again, and I will say for Tom's point, I'm looking quickly here at the charter and code and think this likely will need to come back for a more formal vote, but I see no problem with them with the motion tonight that gives a sense of the board to Jack as he proceeds, and then he and I can prepare or discuss a more formal the more formal action for next month.
All right, and I don't wish to hold this up. Jack needs answers, and sometimes in a month, and everybody knows this right now, prices can change a lot on materials right now. So Jack needs the ability to go ahead and lock this stuff up, as soon as you can. I understand that, and I'm not trying to rush anything here. Attorney Gross, could you put together a quick motion that you feel would be what we need to do? In the meantime, I'm going to go back and read what was required, where Reverend Hain asked, he wanted to hear what we said about him. Okay.
That's fine. Can I just ask one thing before you do that, Jack?
Absolutely.
Myers, are you at your computer? I don't believe I saw, and I wouldn't have needed to see the detail on this, but do you have that? You can forward it to me to help prepare this motion quickly.
I'm not. I'm on
You're
my
not.
phone at home.
I can
Okay.
send it to you, Jack.
Okay, thank you. So that's fine, Phil. I'll work on that right now.
Work on it, and when we come back, if we're not quite there yet to take that, we can come back to it. We know it's all short order.
Okay.
Okay, is Reverend Hain listening?
Oh, yes, I am listening, Mr. Ginder.
Okay, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
I'm going to read to you verbatim what was read earlier.
Okay.
Pastor Donald Hain is retiring from the Civil Service Board after 21 years of service to the township. Reverend Donald Hain, now this is from Jack Myers. Jack made this comment today on an email, and I feel that this comment about says it all and says it the best that I would know how to say it. Reverend Donald Hain deserves our gratitude and thanks for a long history of service. His leadership helped calm the waters of disagreement between labor and management and brought trust and honesty back into the civil service process. Over 21 years of service to this township. We wish Reverend Hain well and best of health in the future, and many thanks for his service to this township. And I added the comment, job well done. And we wish to thank you, Reverend Hain, for everything you've done for this township over the years.
You're welcome, Phil. I mean, you and Tom interviewed me for the position those 20 years ago, if you remember, or at least you did. I remember, Phil, you were there because our kids were compatriots at Whitehall High School, and we knew each other through that. And I've been blessed. It's been fun for me to do it. I agree with Jack's things. Because of the excellent leadership of our current chief, Mike, and those who have gone immediately before him, Linda and Ted. I hope I'm not whatever. Since Ted Coe, it's been really easy to be ahead of the Civil Service Commission. Because the chiefs have just created an atmosphere in the department, which makes just a wonderful working relationship between the commission and the township and the police department. And the folks still there, assuming that Rich Bentz will, if you take action to make him a full permanent member, and Jack and Bruce, that you've got three good, really solid people who are there that will be able to do, I'm sure, as well as I have done in the position. It's been pleasing to have the commission get to the point where it is. I mean, early on, years ago, meetings were much more challenges. I was, put in the position to hear appeals. Was not something I anticipated going on to when I went on to the commission, but we have worked our way through that, Jack and Myers and the township execs. It's really been a wonderful experience. I said to Glenn Solt years ago, Glenn, I keep challenging the members of my parish to be involved in the community, and I realized that I wasn't doing squat. And so what can I do to give back to the community, which has been very good to me. And so it came out of that conversation with Glenn in Weiss's that I became on the commission. And I thank you for the opportunity to serve. I pray blessings upon the work that you guys do. What you do is much more challenging, I think, than what we have done and I have done. And I thank you for your service and your confidence in the commission. So it's been a pleasure. We really weren't even thinking of moving. The opportunity became available, and we're moving outside the township, not outside of the county. But I knew that means I could no longer serve in the role that I was serving. So I leave feeling great about what we've done, and great about the people I've worked with, and great about feeling good about the future of the Civil Service Commission.
Thank you, Reverend Hayden. Thank you for everything you've done for this township.
You're welcome, Phil.
And
God be with you.
Don, this is Tom Sloniker. I just wanted to echo the thoughts that Phil just said, and Jack and whatnot, because I do know the challenges that you were presented, and I'm glad that you stayed on this long. It's one of those things with that particular board that you can understand why people might not stay on there just because of some conflicts or whatnot. So
Well, Tom,
I want to thank you, and
I'll say early on, Tom, that was the case, but over the last, I'm not sure how many years, the last 10 years or so have been much simpler and less challenging than the first 10.
and that's a good thing.
Yes, it is a good thing. I think I'm going off the commission in a place where I think the commission's just in wonderful hands, and we're blessed with a wonderful chief. If Mike's listening in, it was a pleasure to work with Mike, and both the Mikes in this fact at this time.
Any other comments from the board?
And this is Commissioner D. Thank you for your service to the township. We can't thank you enough.
You're welcome.
Any other comments?
Just wishing.
Thanks, Reverend Hayden. Be well.
You also, guys. Take care.
Thanks
Thank
again.
you.
Yep, bye-bye.
Thank you.
All right. Going back to where we were, I'm not sure if Attorney Gross had proper time to try and put something together.
I did. I'm happy to read a proposal here for comment or revision. So
That's great in that short a time. If you would, please, Attorney Gross.
sure. So is there a motion to approve of the additions to the Whitehall Township Municipal Campus Improvement Project as described in the report of Deputy Mayor Jack Myers and explained as option 1 of the Dewey Engineering memo dated August 6, 2021?
I'll make a motion to accept Mark's.
Do I have a second?
Tia, I'll second it.
Okay, comments from the board?
Who was the second? Was that,
Atia.
who was Atia? Okay.
Comments from the board? Comments from the public?
There are no comments from the public.
There being none, Mr. Secretary, please poll the board.
Commissioner Marks,
Yes.
Commissioner Atia,
Yes.
Commissioner D,
Aye.
Commissioner Fisher,
Aye.
Commissioner Warren,
Aye.
Commissioner Sloniker. I'm gonna abstain. As I said, I'm pretty sure 100% that I didn't have a chance to look at it. And then President Ginder.
Yes,
Okay, the motion passes 6 ayes and 1 abstention.
okay, moving on to reports of public officials. Commissioner Warren, would you please start this evening? We can't hear you.
You're muted.
Sorry. Earlier this month, I went to Christmas at the Barn that Recreation coordinated, and it was a pretty well turned out. I think people are anxious to get out from the pandemic. The Historical Society has been having open house the last several weekends, and they get a number of people every day that they're open coming in to view their new addition to the museum. Also, I'd like to add that the garden at the Mickley Pride and Farm, supporting the Whitehall Cup Play Hunger Initiative, has tripled its volume of food already, and the growing season isn't over. So the goal of doubling the yield, they have achieved that and then some, and there's plans to just keep making it better next year. That's all I have at this moment. I think maybe the mayor has some other stuff, but that'll be it.
Commissioner B.
Thank you, President Ginder. On a sad note, I'd like to mark the passing of Mr. Ken Snyder, who served Whitehall Township incredibly. He was 90 years old. He was the founding director of the Whitehall Junior Chamber of Commerce. He was past president of Whitehall Chamber of Commerce. He served on this Board of Commissioners. He was on the Whitehall Planning Commission, and he had been an alternate on the Whitehall Zoning Board recently. I have a personal connection with the family. His wife Irene grew up with my father in the great Carbon County town of Summit Hill, Pennsylvania. And I knew Irene's brother, who would have been Ken's brother-in-law. So I go way back with his Ocean family. So I just want to send out my condolences to the family of Ken Snyder, somebody who really did serve this township honorably. I'd like to also talk about, as usual, the Whitehall Copley Hunger Initiative, specifically the Children's Summer Feeding Program, which incredibly from June 16th through August 4th, they provided 1,065 bags of dry food to low-income children in the Whitehall Copley School District, which is just fantastic. The program will continue every Monday and Wednesday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. at 6 sites throughout Whitehall Copley through August 25th. One really cool aspect of this is that they are giving out books to the kids every Monday and Wednesday. The kids can select as many books as they want to keep, which is great. And they also were able to offer toys for their Christmas in July, thanks to donations from Steve Parrish at Edward Jones in Whitehall and his clients. So great work serving the community. And just a reminder, their food pantry at St. John the Baptist Church in Stiles, which is at the corner of Chestnut and South Route. This Thursday, August 12th, it'll be open 11 to 1 and then 5:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. For any food insecure Whitehall residents. So just such great work. I'd also like to thank everybody who volunteers. It's all volunteers. They collect the food. Food donations are taken, of course, in the Remax building on Shot Avenue. Volunteers bag the food, sort it, and hand it out. So just a great example of the Whitehall community coming together to help those in need. So that's all I have. Thank you for the time, President Ginder.
Commissioner Fisher.
Thank you, President Ginder. I just got a few quick things. So on August 16th, thereabouts, in a few streets in Hockendakwa, they'll be doing a chip sealing they'll be doing it's a modified chip road work ceiling. Everyone in that neighborhood I know got these door hangers for it. I kind of just want to remind everybody about that. I have a question towards the mayor about that. Will there also be no parking signs going up along the streets, along Thomas Street, Melrose, Gale Lane?
I believe that's part of the program to guarantee
Okay.
that people aren't on there. So yes, that's my understanding.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to make sure that this wasn't the only reminder because people might forget the dates. I had to look up the date again, so okay, thank you. The other thing I want to do is I want to thank the St. Luke's Sports Medicine Group and the littering committee. They did a good cleanup down by the White Castle on MacArthur Road. They did it last weekend. They did a great job. I want to thank them for that. I do want to say though that this has been like the third cleanup that's been in that area in the last like 3-4 months. The litter down there really keeps accumulating. I have word from the littering committee that they did speak with the manager at the White Castle, and they said they're trying to clean it up every day, but there are some issues and concerns about some of the safety and security in that area, and that's why some stuff hasn't been cleaned as well. I know the environmental committee and the littering committee are going to be discussing this issue on Thursday. But I just want to bring it to everyone's attention that, you know, they're trying, we're trying, Whitehall's trying, and, you know, litter keeps coming. So, not much I also want to say on that, but it's something that we're definitely going to have to address because this, I mean, come on, it's 3-4 months. This kind of just keeps happening.
Chuck, can I add some
Yes.
information about Home
Yes.
Depot? I sent a letter to the CEO of Home Depot, and I got a reply. We will be scheduling a meeting with the manager at the local store in an attempt to make sure that we don't have this happening anymore.
Okay.
So we have it right from the top, and hopefully we get better performance. Unfortunately, it's not the manager or any of the employees that throws things around. For the most part,
Yeah.
it's somebody else. But it's the price of doing business in any community that they maintain it in a clean and sanitary manner and litter free. So I'm hoping that this is going to happen as a result of that.
Yeah, that's really good news. I'm glad to hear that. So cool. And the last thing I just want to say, COVID cases, I don't know if people have been paying attention to it. Cases again nationwide are going up. Pennsylvania has not been going up as much as certain states, especially more in the southern United States. But the fact of the matter is cases are going up. And I mean, I don't know what to say. Please, everyone, get vaccinated. School is going to be starting in just a few weeks. By the time we have our next commissioners meeting, school will be in session. My wife is a teacher. She'll be masked up. I mean, I can't believe that, you know, we're 18 months into this and, you know, we have three very effective vaccines in the United States that have been tried and true and proven. And I just really want to encourage everyone who has not been able to who has not gotten the vaccine yet to please get one soon. The fall is coming. Indoor weather, like people are going to be pushing activities indoors. Children under 12 cannot get a vaccine. The soonest they may be able to get one will be probably, I think it was said somewhere towards the end of fall. I'm hoping that could be accelerated if possible, but please, the best way to protect our children going into the fall is just to get a vaccine. So please, I'm vaccinated. I'm happy as a clam, and I'm definitely encouraging as many people as possible to please get a vaccine. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Commissioner Attia.
Thank you, President Ginder. I don't have a whole lot. I did want to ask the mayor and Jack Myers if there's any update on Jefferson Street Pool, just kind of an outlook for next year. I know our pool season's coming to an end for this year, but just in general, what the plans are next steps, Jefferson.
We'll be looking at that very carefully. Jack, I don't remember if we've sent anything out to one of the companies that Tony had spoken with or not. But I'll tell you, right now, it's a real tough decision that has to be made, Randy. We have two pools that served the community this year, and we have to take a real hard look at if or whether the Jefferson Street pool is open again.
Yeah, and I know that's going to be a tough decision. I would just ask that maybe next year, if we're not opening the pool next year, could we possibly take a look at, just maybe brainstorm some ideas to do for the Fullerton community and the kids side of the township, to maybe give them something else.
I think that's reasonable.
The only other thing I had written down here was just a reminder. I know Commissioner Fisher brought up school, being in session by the time we meet again the next time, but just a reminder that school's going to be in session, and I know I do my commute every morning. There's a lot of walkers, a lot of kids. Yes, we are a busing district in Whitehall, but a lot of kids are walking to their bus stops. Reminder to do that now. Getting on the buses to drive care. That's all I have.
Thanks, Randy. Commissioner Sloniger,
Nothing at this time, President Ginder.
Commissioner Marks.
I have nothing at this time.
All right, I just have a few things. Frank Clark, our engineer, is not with us tonight. He's on vacation. Mr. Tom Diley's here from Frank's office. Mr. Diley, did Frank leave any information for the Mechanicsville Road sidewalk issue?
No, you did not, Mr. Ginder. Do you hear me? This is Tom Diley.
Yeah, I hear you.
Oh, I'm finally got the audio working. Thank you. No, he did not mention that to me.
Okay, no problem. It's not life or death. We've been at this for a long time. Just wanting to, thought maybe you had some good news.
Phil, I can give you some information about that if you'd like.
Go right ahead.
It's not completed, but he is working with the attorney, Kevin Fogarty, to try to get all of the signatures together. They need them on one deed, and there has been some juggling there. Hopefully, in the very near future, those 9 signatures are going to be in the same place. I know Frank's been working hard at it, as has Kevin Fogarty.
And with the other issues, we know that Fairview Avenue, the construction has started on the road collapse, and Bridge Street is also under construction from PennDOT with the sinkholes and the things they're doing. Next thing I have is the treasurer on. Hello, treasurer.
She's here.
I am here, yes.
Okay, a couple questions. We have no financial paperwork for the month of July.
The July report, you do not have that yet. I'm still waiting for a little bit of information to be able to finish it. It will be emailed to you this month or this week.
Now, just some cleaning up some stuff from back in spring. We still don't have reports of the 3 deposit accounts as per the recommendation of the auditor back in spring.
You
when
had,
did we start being
okay.
caught up with those?
Okay, the treasurer's report or the treasurer's disbursement is almost finished. That was another one I needed some information because there were some checks written out of that in the past that should not have been written out of that. So that's getting cleaned up. The per capita, I believe you should have received. Did I not give you a per capita report? I know I did to the school and to the township.
I did not get one. I don't know that anybody else see one.
Okay, I'll make sure you get that. Because that was quite a chore, let me tell you. But it is complete and I will get that to you.
And the last one I have is the statement of the overdrawn accounts from late 2020 into the first quarter of 2021.
That was per capita.
have all the analysis fees been accessed and properly taken out from when this first started with the access fees?
Yes, I
Until we
discussed,
finally found out.
I don't have a response from the school district yet. I thought perhaps they were going to discuss that at their meeting, so I will talk to Mike Millay tomorrow. But I discussed it with Jack and we decided in order to take care of that, we will just deduct it from the current payment. So that will all get worked out.
That will be working on. Okay.
Yes,
Thank-
that should be done by the end of this week also.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
One last question for the mayor.
Yes.
In reading the Whitehall Township Authority's meetings, have we got all their answers for them that they were looking for from the township as far as the privately owned fire hydrant policies?
Yes, Fire Inspector Builder and I attended their meeting, and I believe that they had answers for every question that they had.
Okay, so we're caught up with them. How about Northampton Borough Municipal Authority?
As to, oh, you're talking about the fire hydrants again?
Same issue, the privately owned fire hydrants. Are there any within Northampton Borough Municipal Authority?
I don't know the answer to that question. It wasn't part of the conversation that I've had with Fire Chief Nelson. I have to be honest and tell you, I just don't know if there are any, Phil.
Because I questioned this the last 2 months. If Whitehall Township Authority had some privately owned fire hydrants, maybe we should contact the Northampton Borough Municipal Authority and make sure that they don't have any privately owned fire hydrants in the system. And if they do, that we catch up on the proper way to deal with these. So our fire department has water when they need it.
I will make sure that we get that out tomorrow. Again, I think Dave would have noted that, but I'm not positive, Phil.
Yeah, I've asked for 2 months on that because we have 2 water authorities and, we need to make sure that they're both doing what we need done here with this. Okay. The other one is, I'll leave that go for now. That's all I have for this evening. The mayor's report.
As to masking, as of tomorrow, people in the municipal building will be required to have masks on when they're in common areas, when they're in their private offices, not necessarily, but we want to maintain social distancing in addition to the masking. So that went out today. I attended a meeting with representatives from the Lehigh County Bureau of Agricultural Land Preservation to talk about some acreage in that came to their attention in Egypt. We are looking at that. The fact that it might be able to get into the agricultural land preservation may depend upon what we choose to do. If we want to, we may wind up having to pay some money to do that, and we'll be talking more about that in the near future. I have continued to work with WTICTA on the potential for a Whitehall Township Authority. But we also went down and visited the Allentown Economic Development Corporation and met with their project manager. And he had a lot of interesting things to offer, some of which I think are far more intriguing than looking at a township authority. As we continue to age as a community, it's likely that we're going to have some blighted areas. We don't have them right now, but it may be reasonable to get a closer look at the Economic Development Corporation. Not ready to discuss that with any detail at this point, but it was pretty interesting. Wanted to make note of Thomas Pocula Piscula, I'm sorry, who passed recently. He was a life member of the Station 36 in Fullerton, and he was with the fire department for over 55 years. He passed recently. We had a meeting about the RAISE grant in support of the Riverside development in Allentown. Still showing that part of that project would come up to and under Route 22 to Wood Street. The presumption is that when 22 is widened, it's going to close Wood Street, and we would need to, coincident with this RAISE grant, we've looked at that option, and it looks like we would have to come up Wood and bend north and west to meet with Park Street. That would be funded in part by, in its entirety by PennDOT, but the road that would come from Allentown up to meet that location would be funded by Riverview project, and it would wind up being land that would be given to the county, and we'd have an extension of the D&L trail up to Race Street, depending upon whether or not the project results in a successful grant application. And at this point, we still have, PennDOT has Fifth Street as a standalone project right now, which may wind up getting done even before 22 is widened. So looking forward to that. I met with Hal Warner and his staff at the Lehigh County Humane Society, and they have decided that they want to do a project in Whitehall Township. It's not going to cost us anything, but they are hoping to educate the community well enough that they can do a good job of trapping, neutering, and releasing feral cats in the township. I don't know about the board, but I know I see them all over the place and in my yard regularly. They're looking to have that take place at the end of this month and possibly into September. Went to celebrate the 70th anniversary of the Lions Club in Whitehall, and their primary mission, if you're not familiar with it, is providing support to the blind and visually impaired. They are one of the oldest Lions clubs in the country, and the Leo Club that's affiliated with them at Whitehall High School is the longest lived organization for high school in the country. Also, there's one in the middle school. So they're working together to help those kids do good things. Met with Chad Helmer, Frank Clark, Tony Coca to talk about the grant from the Boscola grant that will close out the money that we need for the pavilion at the Parkway. Met with Whitehall Copley School District Superintendent Bob Steckel and others talking about becoming a member of the school district community council. And my presumption is that they'll be reaching out to you also, Phil.
We've talked.
Pardon?
We've talked.
Okay. I met with about 12 residents of Alberta Drive to discuss the Red Haven Alley, which is in disrepair. The residents, most of them were surprised to find that, if not all of them, were surprised to find that the alley is private. Jack Gross didn't deed that to the township, coincident with the other alleys that he deeded to us. And right now it's a sticky problem. they're very concerned. They'd like to see the township take it over, but it's going to be a tough decision to do that. I think Jeff mentioned the Christmas in July. I think it was well received, and we're looking at doing something else next year that would be a bigger event, and it would be centered at the Grist Mill and Grimm House along Mickley Road. That's about it for right now.
Okay. Treasurer's report.
Okay, I don't know if we've ever talked about this before, but I'd like to mention to the board that this past week I prepared information for Lehigh County. We have 15 homes going up for sale in Whitehall Township at an upset sale for unpaid taxes. I think it's less than I've done in the past, but it's still upsetting to know that we have people who haven't paid their taxes and are losing it for non-payment of taxes. I'd also like to thank the taxpayers of Whitehall Township for their cooperation in using the drop boxes out front. From time to time, we get phone calls of complaints that they want to come in, they want to be reseated, they want everything the way it was. Well, unfortunately, it can't be the way it was. So they really have stepped up and cooperated with the procedure we're using. We do provide them with receipts. From time to time, we've had people ask if we would come out and discuss situations with them or stamp something for them, and we will do that. So for the most part, the taxpayers have been great, and they're coming through. And it's been tough for everyone, but it's working. It's working. So other than that, as I said, I need some additional information from the bank, and the reports are just about finished. They should be finished in a day or two, and everything will get emailed out to you. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else have anything for the good of the township this evening? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Do we have a first?
I'll make that, Fisher.
Do we have a second?
I'll second Mark's.
Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Have a good evening.
Thanks, Phil.
Good night, everyone.
Take care. Bye.